So I hear you want to attend nursing school, but you don't know where to start. I got you covered. What's going on, y'all? My name is Trey. I am a nursing student with ECPI University, and I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about the application process, orientation, and the steps to enrollment. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, I need you guys to please like, subscribe, and share this video for anyone who is potentially looking at nursing schools and they don't know where to start. So the first thing I would say is research your schools in which you want to go to. You know, a lot of students, they want to start with maybe their university in which they got their prerequisites. Wonderful, that's good. But have a backup and then have a backup on top of that backup, because sometimes your plan A may not fall through, but you can have plan B and or plan C that may fall right into your lap. Once you've conducted your research, go ahead and attend an information session. The good thing with ECPI University, I'm just gonna tell you guys, I didn't know who they were. Okay, I live here in Orlando. I'm attending the Orlando location. I didn't know who ECPI was. I was doing some research on nursing schools around in the area, and I remember them popping up, and it was for cybersecurity. And then I happened to go on their website, and then I seen for nursing. I was like, oh, this is different. So I went on to YouTube. I seen a couple YouTube videos. I looked at testimonial videos and reviews and such like that. And I was like, okay, this is a pretty doggone good school. Let's check it out. So I went onto their website. I looked at all of their requirements. I looked at their classes that they're required to take in the program. I looked at everything. And I actually have a couple of friends here who are nurses in the Orlando area, and they vouched for ECPI heavily. They kept telling me, they have good quality nurses when they're doing clinicals, they're solid and all of the good stuff. So I decided to request information on ECPI's website, and maybe like a day or two later, they reached out to me and signed up for an information session. So it's very crucial that you attend the information session. Why? Because they are going to answer any questions that you may have, okay? They're gonna go over the application process, the steps to enrollment. They're gonna go over everything that you need to know, including your financial aid, okay? So for me, when I attended my information session, we toured the facility or the school. We went over different, classes and, what I was looking for. The gentleman asked me if I currently have a bachelor's. I told him, I said, I do have a bachelor's. And he said, well, would you be interested in our B2B program, which is our bachelor's to bachelor's program, which essentially is if you have a bachelor's degree and you're transferring to ECPI to get your bachelor's in nursing or your nursing degree, you can do your BSN. And I want to say, I believe that program was a year, but it's very strenuous. It's like Monday through Thursday from like 8 to 5. And I said, no, that doesn't work well with my schedule. Maybe if I was living with mommy and daddy, probably that would work out. But for me, it's just not feasible. So I asked them, I said, which other options do you folks have? And they said that they have an ADN program, which is your associate's degree in nursing. Wonderful. So that program, they offer two classes, AM, PM. Your AM is, I believe it's 8 to 4 or 8 to 4, somewhere in that time frame, something like that. And then your PM is going to be from 5:30. And depending on, which classes you have to take, it may be 5:30 to about 8:30 or 5:30 to 10:30. Okay, so it's 1 or 2 times, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, depending on how many credits you have to take. So luckily, when you are going through the information session, they'll ask you, do you have any credits that you've currently taken at any previous schools? And if you tell them, oh yeah, I've taken math, English, I've taken a science here and there, chances are some of your credits are going to transfer over with ease, and that means you don't have to take as many classes per term. And yes, I said per term because ECPI is term-based, not semester-based. So what that means is these are 5-week terms for each class. So yes, it is accelerated. Yes, it is a little bit more coursework within those weeks, but you're learning the fundamentals and you're learning, what you need to know in order to be successful. So when you are at your orientation, or I'm sorry, not your orientation, but when you are attending your information session, he or she is going to go over, the steps to enrollment. So they're going to ask you if you want to go ahead and sit for your TEAS exam. Your TEAS is not going to be the updated one. I believe it's TEAS 4 is what ECPI requires. And you can take it for free right at the school. They'll put you into the lab, you'll take your test, and you do have to get certain scores for each section. So for example, you have to get an 85 in your reading, a 60 in English, 60 in science, and a 65 in math. Okay, so once you've obtained those scores, then you can go ahead and start physically applying to the college, which you can actually do right there in the office at the school. Now, for those who do not pass the first time, it's okay because it doesn't necessarily mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean that you're not fit or qualified. It just means that, okay, you're just getting the feel for the first time to see what questions they're asking you. And then you know what to study for the second time. So for me, reading, actually, I missed it by one question. One question. And I know some of you guys are like, well, what? You can't even read and comprehend and out here in nursing school? Listen, we listen and we don't judge, okay? So yeah, so the second time I had to take reading, I actually passed it, with flying colors the second time. And then I was able to physically apply when I finished taking it. I applied with the advisor, and then we got my transcripts, my application. They asked for my resume. I sent everything over, and I was good to go. So from there, they evaluated all of my transcripts. I had 20 credits that transferred over. So I had anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, psychology. I had my English 1 and 2. I had math, and any other general electives that they required in the program. And to touch base on your prerequisites, you don't have to complete those before you can physically start the program. If you are fresh out of high school and you're wanting to check out ECPI for, any of their degree programs, you don't have to do any prerequisites before you can physically get into the program. These classes are built into the program, and the main purpose of that is to move you right on, so you can get out into the workforce.